Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome to GnWC NXT Takeover The End Prediction Show. I am Professor Doom and Gloom, joined always by Debbie Downer, and this is the last NXT show we can review because there's going to be no more.
Larry.
Yeah.
Relax.
Why?
Relax.
The end, dude. Everything's over with.
Okay.
Brand split. Everything's pulled from Ticketmaster. It's over. NXT's done.
That's Larry. I'm the Duke. And the latest on this is that Takeover is no longer going to be what they call NXT Live Specials. So it's the end of Takeover. It's not, and of course, there's all the other end connotations like Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, so on and so forth. So it's not no more live specials, no more NXT TV. We're gutting NXT for the brand split. They're rebranding it, which is why they had to take it off of Barclays, or not Barclays. It's still on the Barclays site, but they had to take it off of Ticketmaster because you know how people are on the internet. If something doesn't say what they're seeing advertised, they're going to claim everything from false advertising to how was I supposed to get a ticket? It's not named the same thing that you're saying on TVs. So that's what the latest is on it, and it's the most logical thing to come out of all the speculation. So
SmackDown is consuming NXT. It is over.
You're still on it. Okay. Well, we're going to pretend there will be more specials, even if that's completely wrong and they're completely removing NXT from existence and they're going to give it the Hulk Hogan treatment or the Chris Benoit treatment.
All right. The one thing that lets me sleep better at night is that no major wrestling dirt sheet is saying that this is the last event. They're not even speculating on the rumors. They're ignoring this like it's not even named the end. And that's good for me.
Yeah.
I just wish someone would have say, hey, listen, officially, it's not the end of NXT. Don't worry. It's just the end of the Takeover name. We're going to call them something different from now on.
Yeah.
I would like that.
I do.
I'm going to call Triple H right now.
Yeah. Get him on the phone.
No, my headphones don't reach the
We
phone.
really need a bunch of Triple H promos that we can turn into, or like a Triple H soundboard that we can turn into a phone call.
I have a George Costanza soundboard.
Yeah, that's not the same.
It doesn't have the stuff I want it to have, though.
It's not
George likes spicy chicken. All right, so NXT Takeover The End. Let's move on. Let's start the show.
Well,
yeah.
I will say one thing I do like about takeovers.
I have to sneeze and I don't know where to mute. But go ahead.
You want me to just be really quiet?
No, go ahead. I'll edit in later if it doesn't come out.
You'll edit in the sneeze?
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen? Okay. One thing I will say, one thing I do like about takeover specials is that they're takeover specials, because now it's like you say the next takeover, because we don't say pay-per-view because it's not a pay-per-view. And you can barely call quote-unquote pay-per-views that anymore.
Live specials.
Because it's network. Yeah, they're live specials, and that's so unbelievably generic. So NXT actually having something that marks their specials, Takeover, I like that. So hopefully we get something where it's just it's a freshening, it's a rebranding, but we still get a common thing to call it. You know, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. You know,
it's the NXT picture show on the television thing.
Let's hope it's not that. So let's move on.
Let's move on. Let's start in traditional NXT takeover fashion, nice and hot with the tag team titles on the line. American Alpha versus the Revival. Duke, do you have an opinion on this match?
I suspect it'll be as good or better than the last.
Last one was pretty good.
It was really good.
Yeah.
And again, I said it then, I'm going to say it again, because we don't necessarily do recap shows anymore. But shout out to Dash Wilder for being the man who was everywhere he needed to be, no matter how he needed to get there in that last match, because it was just so good. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this one's hard to call. I suspect American Alpha keeps it because while they're great and they're explosive, they're still sort of they need more I don't know, character development, I guess, as a team, because we haven't seen them that, just some interviews here and there, which is kind of how it works in NXT. It's more old school where you don't necessarily see the guys wrestle their tag match all the time. They'll do some squashes and stuff like that. But I'm excited about the match. With the Revival losing on NXT TV last week to Ciampa and Gargano, I suspect that moves those guys more into the title picture against American Alpha, as opposed to the Revival winning and then Ciampa and Gargano saying, "Hey, we just beat you. We want to beat you again," and then it being an extended feud with the Revival having already lost to this team. That, to me, that doesn't necessarily have the best story, the best angle to start out with, as opposed to having Gargano and Johnny Wrestling go after American Alpha. So
let me throw a few things at you.
I suspect American Alpha wins, and we see Gargano and Johnny or I'm saying him twice, Ciampa and Gargano facing up against them.
Let me throw a few things at you here just to kind of play the other side. One, I think I know what you're getting at with American Alpha needing a little bit more time. I'm going to say this, it's going to sound insulting, but if anybody is a real true fan of indie wrestling, you know what I mean. You have a champion in an indie fed you like, and you really like them, and they're really good, but you just see them as not being contenders on whatever like the next elevation would be, like Ring of Honor or WWE. I feel that way with Jason Jordan. I think he's really good, and he plays very well with Chad Gable, better than he's had with any of his other 100 tag team partners. But I just think there's no like moving him up. I don't know, I got the feeling of like deer in the headlights with him. And I don't want that to sound insulting, because he's a really good wrestler, but he just needs a little bit more time. And I think that's kind of what you were a little bit alluding to, but I'm just saying it to be.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
So I'll just
his mannerisms outside the ring too, when he's not in the match as well. He's like the kid who's happy to be there, and that's great and that's awesome.
Yeah, he comes across like a lifelong Mark.
Yeah.
Sort of Zack Ryder type. Or
yeah. Okay.
Like that,
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
And I don't mean that in a bad way. That's good.
No.
You need people like that in wrestling. You really, really, especially in today's wrestling. But yeah,
it makes you like the guy more.
Correct.
It really does. But
Correct.
I think when it gets
makes you want to see him have big spots and stuff like that. But at the same time, how do you build around someone like Zack Ryder? WWE has shown you don't. You don't.
You have him get really over, and then you never let him wrestle Nassau Coliseum on Raw.
Yeah.
Let the fans chant "We Want Ryder" for 2.5 hours. Let me throw something at you here, and just to kind of speculate a little bit. Gargano and Ciampa won against the Revival. Revival's fighting for the titles now. Any chance possible at all we have a Nancy Kerrigan situation in the locker room and Ciampa and Gargano take the Revival's place, or they get added into this match as a three-way dance?
See, I've wondered that too. I've wondered if they may make it a triple threat for the you know what I would love? I'd love for it to be elimination. That would get a nice long match. That would be great.
Why not? It should be.
Yeah, three-way elimination tag match
to start the night. Cool. That would be the best thing in the world, and I'd be so happy sending this off as the last NXT special ever. Yeah. I'm going to agree. I'm going to say American Alpha is going to win, and I have a little bit later. We're going to speculate on what's in store for Brooklyn, and we both have the same thought: American Alpha versus Gargano and Ciampa. So it looks like we're leading there. What's after for the Revival? It might be a brand split call-up. They'd be a nice SmackDown team.
I suspect the Revival would be great on the main roster.
Yeah. SmackDown especially, because they have the more wrestling matches, while Raw has always been the more story-oriented focus. Right. All right, so let's move on here to the next match. I'm going to pronounce his name totally wrong, but it's Andrade Cien Almas versus the Perfect 10, Ty Dillinger. Now, in the picture for the match on NXT's or WWE's official website for the event, they have Andrade totally blacked out. He's a silhouette and not a Randy Orton or Tyson Kidd silhouette like they always use on Raw. But I guess it's him, unmasked, wearing a fedora. He looks like Damian Dragon, but no one knows who Damian Dragon is. I do. Nice guy. But CN, Duke. 100. Can we get 100 punches on the top rope and everyone in the crowd's just chanting CN, CN, CN? CN. That would take about like 5.5 minutes, I would think.
Man, that would really help. That would help the match time at least.
Are we putting Ty Dillinger in this spot like a Apollo Crews match, just to kind of, he's the consummate professional, just going to get this guy over and work a good match?
Yeah, that's absolutely what it is. I mean, you don't, especially a guy like this, you know, previously La Sombra, and now he's unmasked as Andrade Almas Cien, as you say. Yeah, it's totally it's totally his debut, and they set it up really good, and even had Dillinger win a few matches on the way, so it makes sense for him to be on the special. And yeah, I suspect it'll be a great match, and it's a debut match. I do not expect the Perfect 10 to outlast 100.
This being the last NXT special ever, if
you're gonna stay with that,
if Andrade pulls out a sign that says 100 at any time during the match, I'm gonna start bawling right there. I really am. I'm not gonna hold it back.
You're just gonna cry?
I'm gonna cry. It's gonna be just the most emotional thing in the world, because it's the last show and the dude finally debuts, and he's got 100 sign. They gave him enough to get 100 sign. And,
but speaking of emotional though, his vignettes leading up to his debut have actually been pretty cool. Like I like how they're like very, you know, sort of old school and showing his lineage,
yes.
and showing him taking off the mask, like this is a new chapter in his life. That's really, really crazy well done.
It's weird how on some debuts like Nakamura or Finn Balor or Hideo Itami, Asuka, like you knew who they were before they entered. Like NXT even like hinted to it or showed them at least in various matches in their old promotions or whatever they had, you know, permission that show. But this guy just came out of nowhere 2 weeks ago with a promo, and it was the same one the next week as well. It's like I've never seen the guy wrestle to identify him with whatever mask he wore to make it feel like it's special that he's taking it off. Like I don't know why that feels rushed to me, but it just does.
I would say that promo is more for his fans, for him to say,
okay,
for him to say, you need to watch tonight. You're gonna see something special, and it being it's sort of being a shout out to his fans, saying, hey, I don't forget where I've come from, but this is a new chapter. Follow
That's cool.
me.
Okay,
follow me to NXT. You know, that's what I get from it.
I accept that. That's all right. You know, and with NXT, they changed the guys' names. They brought him in, they changed his name, and then when he goes from house shows to the you know, the TV, they changed his name again a little bit. So it's kind of confusing sometimes when they bring in new talent.
Yeah. I
never made the connection that Manny Andrade was
this guy.
Yes. Until they did the promo. Then I'm like, well, it's got to be Manny Andrade. They don't have two Andrades. They can't. Right. It's not possibly technical.
No.
Technically possible. No, it can't. Just like Nikki Storm will not be Nikki or Storm on the main roster.
Aww.
I know it sucks. Speaking of main roster.
Okay.
Our next match, Shinsuke Nakamura versus the greatest man who ever lived, A-Double Austin Aries. Duke, I have to think that this is Nakamura's stepping stone to the main event of NXT Takeover Brooklyn, which is not going to happen.
It won't be called Takeover Brooklyn, is what we're being told. Yeah, I have to believe that too. I don't know that. I don't feel like you have time for this to be a prolonged feud. And Austin Aries had his debut win. So, of course, so did Nakamura. But I mean,
I forgot.
no
Aries even won that match.
offense. Yeah, no offense to Aries, but he's not at the same level as Nakamura.
Aries is pretty up there, though.
I mean, but just, well, how about this? He's nowhere near as over as Nakamura, and I suspect this will be a showcase match for him as much as it will be Nakamura moving up to challenge Joe for the title.
Yeah, Austin Aries can always take the sore loser route after this and just propel himself to a new direction.
Yeah,
and then kind of like get there again in the end, whatever arc takes him. And I'd like to see that. I'd like to see heel Aries. I'd like to see Aries Eric Young or Aries Bobby Roode. I don't even know if either of them ever get signed. That'd be nice.
Yeah, a straight TNA feud in NXT.
Yeah. Or hey, listen, Bobby Roode comes in and Austin Aries, and they go after American Alpha, the Dirty Heels.
That would be interesting.
Or Eric Young and Bobby Roode, Team Canada, goes after American Alpha. I am filled with it's almost like I just reread that Vince Russo book.
Oh, the rope opera is strong with this one.
It is strong with this one. So we both have Nakamura here, right?
Yeah.
All
yeah.
right.
I don't know that there's any way to call this whole card outside of one way. Like I just don't.
If anything goes the other way, it would certainly be a huge surprise. It really would.
Exactly.
Especially in this match. Women's champion, Asuka, versus Nia Jax. What do you want to say about this one?
I look forward to seeing what Nia can pull off here. I really liked, as awful as contract signing segments can be, they kept it short and sweet, and it ended really cool. And typically, the person who ends up looking the strongest in those segments is the person who loses. And obviously, Nia Jax looked the strongest with the capture power bomb, which was cool.
That was very cool. I thought she was going through the table for a second. I was like, this is going to be great.
Yeah, I thought about it too, and I'm like, man, if they this would blow people's minds. If she went through the table. It was still good though.
It was still good.
Quite good.
Yeah,
quite good. So,
and it's a new move. I don't know if I've ever seen Nia Jax pull off that move before.
I don't know that I've seen her do a power bomb. No.
And she should. She's
good.
bigger. She's stronger. She should be doing these moves.
Yep.
But kind of like Apollo Crews when they were doing the whole breaking ground thing, and Triple H is like, you need a new move, you know.
You need something bigger. Yeah.
Nia Jax needs those moves. Leg drops don't do it, but power bombs do it. So
yeah.
Both have Asuka here, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, let's just move on.
I hope we see a lot from Nia Jax though.
No, I do. It'd be nice.
What I'm hoping for.
You think we're going to get a lot of fanfare on the outside in this match? I know NXT doesn't do fanfare, but do you think we're going to get Bayley in the commentating booth or something?
See, I wonder. Because, she obviously should be in line to have her rematch, of course. And she has history with Nia Jax. And I suspect her path back to Asuka, if she is going back for the title again, I suspect her path back to Asuka is through Nia Jax again, essentially the extended rubber or the extended series, and that would be the rubber match. So yeah, it would be kind of cool if Bayley was somewhere involved in this.
Special guest referee.
Oh man, that'd be amazing.
That would be
amazing.
That's one of the list of things NXT has yet to do as far as Takeover, I believe. Has been a special guest. I don't even know if I've ever seen a special guest referee in NXT at all. But definitely not tonight. Not Wednesday night. But
that would be funny. But
it would be.
And by the way, I can't tell you how pitiful I felt yesterday, knowing that I was standing outside the arena where NXT was going to happen. And I could not get a ticket.
Oh, really?
Way. Oh, yeah.
I didn't even know you even attempted to go.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Did you, wow, no scalpers or anything?
I was there too early,
okay.
And my wife was with me, and, she didn't want to sit around just waiting on me to pout. So we took a picture of me in front of the truck, in front of the WWE truck, and saying, well, this is the closest I'm getting to the show tonight.
I would have just went right backstage and just see how far you could have gone.
What's funny is I know everything about that arena
there you
because
go.
I
you robbed the place before, so
no, I did not do that. But I very much could have just kind of walked back. I know the ins and outs of backstage, so that would have been neat. But man, the history in that building for so many people, especially Regal came along because that's the first place he ever wrestled on TV.
Yeah,
was center stage, and
at WCW also, Worldwide tapings were there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And also Triple H, first place he ever wrestled, and so, or first time he was ever on TV. So, yeah, just crazy history with the management of with WWE and wrestling in general, and then the management of NXT. So, man, it would have been great to be there.
Yeah.
The last show before the last Takeover.
What happened? You couldn't get tickets in advance, or it was just complicated?
The tickets were sold out in seconds during pre-sale.
Oh, okay.
People used the pre-sale code. People gobbled them up, and then they put them on all the scalping sites. Which, in my opinion, I wanna do a rant on that on our weekly show one day.
Sure.
By the way, but we'll move on. So.
Actually, I just want to real quick. I know how you feel because one time I planned a trip to Florida to go to TNA tapings, and I even talked to Jerry Lynn, who was working with TNA at the time, and Tracy Brooks the weekend before. And they gave me all the info. They told me where to go. They told me who to name drop. And I get there, and there's a line or whatever. And what they do is they take people in the park first, and then they open it up to people outside to fill the seats, fill the arena. Well, on that particular day, it was hot as balls. Everyone went inside in the air conditioning and watched the TV taping.
Wow.
So it wasn't even like wrestling fans. So I couldn't do anything. I'm on the phone. I'm calling in like every favor I know. And like nobody could get through to anybody to come get me. And I was like,
I was messaging this guy. Messaging this guy on Squared Circle who said he had a ticket. And I'm like, oh, sweet. And it was like for $50, which wasn't really what I wanted to pay, but it was less than
definitely worth it.
Yeah, exactly. It was, and I was sitting outside the place. So I'm like, oh crap, yes, I want to do it. Yeah. And so I'm telling the guy, I'm sending him a message. I'm like, I am outside center stage. Can I pay you when you get here? Whatever I need to do. And I just missed his return message to me asking if I still wanted the ticket at one point, and I guess someone else claimed it before I got to the message. So
that sucks.
I felt I was actually, I actually literally felt sick the night before, but I almost felt sick again last night.
Oh, I was miserable when I couldn't get in for TNA because it was like I was sick on the plane ride. Like I was dizzy, I was nauseous. We didn't do a rent-a-car thing. We did the whole, we'll just take the buses because we're going to stay on the Disney resort. We'll just bus back and forth. But I needed the car to get to Universal, so I had to go find the car. We got a car. I got there. We had to find the line. And then we waited 2 hours, and we couldn't get in. I'm like, this is just the most miserable. The one thing I wanted to go to Florida for. It's like trip ruined.
And from the random comments I've seen people make, the matches last night were just unbelievable.
Oh, that makes you feel better.
Yeah, it made me feel great. I think there was a triple threat with, I may be remembering this wrong, but I know Peyton Royce and Carmella wrestled, but I think it was a triple threat with Bayley. And
but Bayley's not cleared to wrestle on Wednesday. How was she cleared to wrestle on?
Right, exactly. But I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong on what I know. Those first two were definitely in the match.
Carmella just defeated Peyton Royce.
Oh, okay. You looked it up?
I'm looking. I have it right now. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was apparently a really
Bayley defeated Daria.
Match.
Bayley wrestled.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was Bayley versus Daria. So there was some three-way match that people talked about.
Wait, so on this show you had American Alpha defeating the Revival and Samoa Joe defeating Finn Balor. Way to save it for the special.
I told you though. I told you when I was talking about it. I'm like, this is basically going to be a dress rehearsal for,
Yeah.
like, everything that happens here is essentially a dress rehearsal for what's going to happen
I
at
don't see
Takeover.
any three-way on
And I
this card,
can't
but
believe. Okay, then it was something else. But everything I heard about it, I heard it was just really, really, really solid, just crazy good.
yeah, it's not bad. Let's move on here to the main event.
Speaking of Finn
Champion
Balor
Samoa
versus
Joe
Samoa Joe.
versus Finn Balor. We didn't have a title change in Atlanta, so Samoa Joe will have the title going into this match. How horrible would you have felt if they did a title change?
I can't. There's. I would not be able to put it into words.
Is there going to be a title change on Wednesday?
No.
Samoa Joe wins. How do you think Samoa Joe is going to win? Coquita clutch, pass out.
I hope not. I'm getting tired of that spot, especially with Balor. But I don't know. I don't know if we'll get a coup de grace off the cage. I would be surprised to see that, considering Balor injured his ankle a while back.
You may break someone's whatever doing that. That's highly dangerous spot.
It's crazy dangerous. It's insanely dangerous. I mean, he did it off the top of a ladder though, which is about the same height.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, so he has to account for a lot more clearance. But anyway, because you got to miss the turnbuckle and all that. But I expect there to be some pretty crazy things. I maybe
Blood?
the finish. What's that?
Blood?
I hope so. I mean, yes and no. Like, if they're in a cage, I don't think they're gonna have doctors messing with them the whole time. So, yeah, we'll see. But I suspect it's some sort of capture muscle buster is what we should expect for a finish where Joe catches Balor trying to do something in the air, and then Joe wraps him up into a muscle buster, ends it. That's what I suspect.
You'll think we'll get the show of respect handshake, feud ended, all is forgiven after the match.
I think it would be cool if you did have sort of the knockdown drag out where they tell the story that Joe is no longer bitter. And I think that's a fitting story for Balor to leave on, is that he earned Samoa Joe's respect and even sort of turned Joe back to the light side and made him less entitled. So that would be cool. Where Balor teaches them a lesson even in defeat. I think that would be a good place for the story to go. So.
I'm gonna say Joe wins with the Coquita clutch.
Okay.
Balor taps out reluctantly, and then we'll get the whole stare down, shake hands, raise hand, kind of feel good ending. But I have to ask this question because I'm who I am.
Right.
We've said this after many things happened. After the rumors of the Bullet Club coming to the United States, after AJ Styles debuted, after the club came back together, after Balor lost the title in Lowell, Massachusetts. How can I be convinced that this is Balor's last match in NXT?
Well, this I can't call it from here. I can call it from the entrance, though. If the Demon enters the arena, I have no idea what's going to happen. I suspect that Joe wins still, but I have feelings that it could go either way at that point. If the Demon enters the arena, it could go either way, and maybe we continue to see Balor for a while. However, if it's Finn Balor entering the arena, then that just goes towards something I've been thinking for a while, that they're protecting the Demon gimmick until he gets called up and basically not letting fans see it for quite a while.
Well, he only pulls it out on takeovers anyway.
I know that.
Yeah,
but
so
still,
there hasn't been a point in time where they took it off of.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I guess every time we've seen him since the title loss and Just we've seen no reference to the demon really.
Oh, he said the demon's coming out when he's in his promos for the cage match.
He did?
Yeah. He always mentioned that Joe doesn't want to see the demon again, stuff like that. Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know word for word, but he definitely mentioned demon, and they did the overlay with the whole paint stuff.
Well, all right. Well, then we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I could be wrong.
I still expect Joe to win, and it could be, that's it's finally Joe finally beat the demon, because he never beat the demon. He beat Finn Balor. So, and there's the
okay, that is true. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
All right. So we have everything the same: American Alpha, Andrade, Nakamura, Asuka, Samoa Joe. So let's talk a little bit about surprise matches, returns, shocking things that could happen during this event. Any bold predictions on your behalf?
I don't really have anything. I hate to be boring, but the card is great, and even being predictable isn't bad for this card. All the matches are going to be fun and interesting, in my opinion. It's great that you have people of varying styles in every single match. Every single match, you've got American Alpha versus the Revival. You've got sort of the explosive power amateur wrestling versus the old school heel tactics, and then you've got sort of lucha libre or lucha. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess he's sort of lucha libre versus more technical Ty Dillinger, and then you've got Nakamura, who is Nakamura. That's his style, is Nakamura. And Austin Aries, who's more of a ground and pound. He's sort of a small ground and pound guy, right?
He's got aerial.
Yeah,
they haven't done his aerial, like his brain buster into 450.
That's crazy.
I don't think they've done it once yet.
Yeah, maybe he pulls some of that out in this match. Who knows? And then you've got the female strong style versus the power game of Nia Jax, and then you've got Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor, which is Samoa Joe style versus Finn Balor style. So it's really cool that this card is so interesting that you're not seeing the same thing on both sides of the ring. You're seeing something. You're seeing everyone bring something different to the table, and it's really cool.
So the one thing NXT has never done...
I don't really have bold predictions, honestly.
The one thing NXT has never done, besides guest referee and a bunch of other gimmick matches, they've never done anything on a takeover where an outside party has interfered to change the course of the match or to initiate a storyline. Unless I'm missing something. Am I? You made a little bit of a moan.
I don't think on Takeover.
Okay, no. They've kept everything traditional. Everything's done in the ring. They've had some outside interference by managers, whoever's been on the ringside, like Dana Brooke or whatever, backfiring or whatever. But they haven't had a clear run-in to upset the course of a match, as far as I know.
Well, I was going to say, but I was going to say something, but it definitely wasn't at Takeover. So I was going to mention Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews, but that wasn't at Takeover. So
and Austin Aries, that wasn't at Takeover either.
Well, I was talking about Baron Corbin interrupting the match.
Between, that was with
Crews
Finn Balor. Yeah, that was a Takeover. That was a TV.
Yep.
Could we get Hideo Itami showing up with Tatanka's headgear? Why
do you have a cricket sound effect?
Why are you not all over this?
We could see Hideo
every
Itami
match
show up. I don't know about the Tatanka headgear.
Every match, tomahawk and all, and he's doing the Chief J Strongbow.
Every match, he goes up and interrupts. Even the women's match.
Right, he'll just circle the ring in that, doing the yell, and then run back up the ramp. The crowd would love it. It's money. We'll do it. All right. They would, absolutely. Who's fighting for the titles in Brooklyn? We already said American Alpha versus Gargano and Ciampa, probably, or a three-way match with the Revival included.
Sure.
Asuka versus Bayley in Brooklyn. Try to top last year's women's match.
Maybe, yeah.
Or even there, I can see Asuka versus Bayley versus Nia Jax.
Yeah.
I don't think that tops Sasha. I don't think that has the potential to top Sasha Banks versus versus Bayley, but maybe we'll just leave it Asuka versus Bayley. And Samoa Joe versus Nakamura seems natural.
Yeah, it does.
If there's one match on this card that you would say could go the other way and just shock the hell out of everybody, which one would it be?
Austin Aries versus Nakamura, honestly.
Now, I don't mean like longest shot to happen. I mean like something that you could see happening.
No, yeah. I'm
okay,
serious.
Austin Aries versus Nakamura. Okay.
Yeah, I could see there maybe being like a hard heel turn by Aries or something like that, where he legitimately cheats to win.
He gets held by Eric Young and Bobby Roode outside interference, and then Nakamura brings over Okada and
he could bring back Itami.
Or Itami. Yeah, I guess and Tanaka. So Tatanka, Itami, Nakamura versus Aries, Roode, and Eric Young for Takeover Brooklyn.
You're sticking with Tatanka. Okay.
Why not? That's if Bob Backlund can be with
there's
Darren
plenty
Young.
Of reasons why not.
Bob Backlund and Darren Young, and you're going to tell me Tatanka and
NXT, the next generation.
Yeah, you're going to tell me Tatanka and him is irrational.
Okay.
You want to hear something irrational though? That is rumored, and what? I'm hoping it's debunked. Triple H leading an NXT invasion into SmackDown. Good or bad?
I don't.
Terrible. Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Didn't we do Nexus already and fail that storyline?
Didn't we do WCW and ECW already and Nexus and Core or whatever? And the Nexus thing was hot to start, but here's the thing with invasion angles. In the end, the invading company always has to win, and that quote unquote buries.
Actually go over.
Not for it to go over, for it to be business sound, for it to make sense business wise. You're not going to promote your own company to lose to another company, even if you own that secondary company.
That's the opposite of what you said. Then you said the invading company always has to win.
Okay, I'm sorry. The company being invaded always has to win.
Right.
Okay, sorry. So, or it doesn't make business sense because you're just basically downplaying yourself. You're saying, "Hey, we weren't good as these guys," and all that stuff. So that's where you're going to get labeled. Guys are going to get buried. So the only time like cross promotion works is when you have like a series of matches that are like one guy from this fed tagging with one guy from that fed versus like a reciprocal kind of formula, or you trade wins and losses and then you have like champion versus champion going 60-minute time limit draw. Oh, Samoa Joe and Finn Balor is going 60-minute time limit draw. Yes. If they go to the ring and the ring announcer says with the 60-minute time limit, you know what's happening.
Oh, you mean in the cage?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that would be interesting.
And then they're going to go overtime.
Well,
Regal's going to have a winner.
What's that?
Regal's going to come out and there's going to have to, or Triple H is going to come out and there's going to have to be a winner. And then they're going to either extend it or whatever they do.
Yeah. Just the idea being, no, this it's Takeover the end. This ends tonight.
Yes.
You end this tonight.
That's why they're not speculating on it. The end means there has to be an end.
Yeah, that could be cool.
I am the best. Really cool. I am filled with ideas. So let's recap my ideas.
You the best.
The time limit draw, maybe 30-minute time limit draw because it's a shorter special. The Native American Tatanka with Hideo Itami. That was good. And I had another one. Oh, the whole Andrade pulling out the 100 sign. So that's what we got. That's the stuff I give you.
And it's like the emoji 100, right? It's like the red with the underline, the emoji 100. Is that what it would be?
That would be cool, because that's like a thing kids say, right? Like they're giving it whatever it means. What does it mean? 100?
I have no idea.
Okay.
No, I don't know.
Keeping it 100. That means that keeping it real. Keeping it real. That's it. Thank you.
Old.
Thank you, Parks and Rec, for bringing that into my life. But I'm just gonna keep talking unless you want to end it.
Well, You're driving this one. I thought you might actually end it. Okay, we're done. You've heard all our stuff.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Larry's just going to keep rambling.
Get off my computer. Headset. Throwing.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is for you. I'm the Duke, and he's gone. So we're done.